Hey guys, welcome back to the next part of Higurashi When They Cry. Today we're gonna start chapter, or I should say arc 3, Tatarigoroshi. But before we get to that, I just want to do a couple of shoutouts. The amount of support that this series has seen so far has been mind-blowing to me. My projects usually don't get that much attention, so the usual suspects, man. Zandragoon, Nash Trebla, Fawful999, Ayushiki, Fun. Thank you guys so much for showing support and love. I had recorded chapter 2 before the first episode of the first chapter went up, so I wasn't able to thank you guys properly. But now that I'm recording this, after every single episode recorded up to this point has been published, I can properly show y'all love. And with that said, we're gonna get into it. I don't know anything about the third chapter, third arc, whatever we wish to call it. So let's start this game, alright? Do I have to change anything here? I think we're okay. Okay, so without further ado, man, let's get into this. We have a long road ahead of us. Let's just say that. Tatarigoroshi, the shortest scenario. Is that a fact now? Man, curse, or coincidence? How are the conjectures inside you solidifying? I look forward to whether those conjectures will waver or become a cornerstone in the scenario. The difficulty is the worst. You will probably not even be able to make conjectures. Interesting. Shut your face, baby. It was a very humid day and a very different font style. Not even a slight breeze was blowing. It had been an unpleasant summer, one that wasn't only hot, but swelteringly so. There were various articles of clothing hung out to dry in the messy apartment windows, but the lack of wind evoked an impression far removed from coolness. In fact, it only felt more oppressive. There were crooked houses and apartments lining the narrow, twisting road. In addition, there were planters and flower pots whose contents were beginning to rot, as well as bicycles and cars on the sides of the road, making it even more cramped, more oppressive, and all the more sweltering. Nobody who was in this place at this time was visiting it voluntarily. But, in spite of what everyone might expect, a single motorcycle came rolling in. The lone motorcycle, which couldn't be called neat, even as flattery, pulled up to a 2-story apartment complex and stopped there. This must be where Rika-chan and Satoko-chan live. A man, fairly old and wrinkled, stepped off. Oishi-san. When the housewife hanging out the laundry noticed him, she called out, "Okay, it's not those two." "Well, hello there. It's quite hot today again, isn't it?" "Oh, you got that right. I feel like I'm gonna boil out here." "What did you call her?" "Oh, right, landlord." "I didn't think that would be the first thing you said." Gomenasai. "The fluorescent lights, right? I completely forgot." "You a giggly ass motherfucker, ain't you?" No, not that. Don't you smell it? I had eggs for breakfast." "What?" "There was a terrible smell about. I've been smelling it since this morning." "Wait, what's this? It reeks? Did the sewers get backed up again?" "I do something about it, landlord. I've had to keep my nose plugged all day long." "You would still look plenty lovely plugging your nose, my dear." What the fuck? There was an unhygienic drainage channel running behind the apartment. The lattice from which it flowed was stuffed with branches and fallen leaves, and when filth got caught up in them, it created an awful stench in the summertime. Could you tell the municipal office about it? The drain will end up buried at this rate. Well, yikes! It's completely blocked. It will start to back up if you poke it with a stick. The man crossed the fence over the drainage channel and picked up a filthy drying pole sitting nearby. He must have planned to stick it into the drain and clear it out. Wait, landlord, stop that! Wait, what are we doing right here? If you mix it all strange, if you do that, what are you saying? It will smell terrible. It smells if it's clogged and smells if it's mixed. Which should I choose? He shoved the drying pole into the filth in the lattice. Of course, it did nothing to help the accumulation of waste. Yeah, it's a dead cat. This is the health center's job. Cats and dogs smell awful when they die. A bamboo pole's not going to do much good. Garbage bags, old clothes, they throw all kinds of stuff in there. And is that a fucking duck I see? Well, of course it stinks. The nerve of some people. The drainage channel was already unsanitary. What was a little more garbage at this point? The stream of such imprudent people was never ending, and now this channel had turned into a garbage dump. When he poked the pile of old clothes floating in the sewage, a black cloud of smoke floated out in the water. The two of them grimaced at the terribly bizarre and repulsive sight. Oh, we got maggots, eh? Someone must have thrown the kitchen waste in. Landlord? What's that? What? Just more garbage, idiot. Landlord, that's... Eh? 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 It's a crime scene now? Oh, hello. Good work today? Oh, what a terrible stench. Hey! Someone cover this fucking thing up with a tarp! It's in plain sight of the 2-floor houses, alright? Identity of the deceased, unknown. Sex, female. Age, estimated to be late 20s or early 30s. Time of death? About 2 or 3 days ago. She was probably abandoned after death. Naked too? Figuring out who she is will be rough. Contact the community division and ask if anyone's gone missing. They've probably weighed her down so she would sink. Then the weights came off and she floated to the top. But why in a drainage sewer of all things? Would have been better under an overpass or in the mountains, you know what I mean? And it would have been outside our jurisdiction too, right? But it looks like they never wanted to hide the corpse at all. Did they do it so she would be found? As a warning or something? This slice in her stomach definitely wasn't from a fish eating her. She was cut open and her insides were dragged out. They really made a show out of killing her. Doesn't the Chinese mafia do these sort of traditional punishments? Ask Shige-san in Section 4 if he's had any trouble with the Yakuza. On it, sir. Still, what a terrible way to go. Hey, don't her innards... Am I recording? Yes. Still, what a terrible way to go. Hey, don't her innards poking out like that look like sort of the salad soba you can get in Kyoto? Maybe if you stuck chopsticks in, noodles would pop out. See? What the fuck kind of morbid... Ugh. Please give me a break. Her intestines were pulled out and her ears and nose cut off. That's definitely not how I want to go. Her fingers are in a bad state too. There are long nails stuck in all of them, on both hands. What kind of torture was this anyway? That's how we start Tatarigoroshi. The most relaxing time during the school day? Lunch, for sure. Everyone brought their desks side by side like always and we all ate together. Oh, what the hell? Oh my. Dude, P? Ah! No! Oh, it's only 2 of them? Oh no. Mion-san? Where's my voice acting? Oh. If I may say, your lunch looks quite appetizing today. There are so many different things, it's wonderful. Satoko and Rika-chan looked at Mion's lunch, shouting gladly. Wait, no! I didn't install it! I'm an idiot! Hold on, be right back. Much better.
ミオさんのお弁当が今日はなかなか見事でございましたよ。品数がいっぱいで豪華なのです。
Satoko and Rika-chan looked at Mion's lunch, shouting gladly. Hold on, man. Do we have... how do I... There. That's not it! How do I... Space. Yes. Is that thumbnail action? It just might be. Alright, here we go. Let's have a look. Wow.
夕べの残りをちょっと詰めてきただけだよ。うちで昨日村長たちが酒盛りしててさ。それで残り物をちょいと取っておいたってわけ。
それでお酒のおつまみみたいなおかずが多いんだね。
残り物。つまりは残飯とはいえ、これだけ綺麗に弁当箱に収められてると、高級料亭の懐石弁当みたいだ。
人の印象のほとんどがファーストインプレッションで決まるようにさ。やっぱりお弁当の味も蓋を開けた時の綺麗さに比例するんじゃないかなって。
ミオさんってガサツそうな性格に見えて、結構こういう盛り付けのセンスがいいんですのよね。お部屋もいつも綺麗に片付いてるし、みーちゃんはみんなが思ってるよりずっと几帳面で丁寧な人なんだよ。
It's all the same once it's in your stomach. I would have thought Mion would say something like that, but to think that she had this kind of taste? You can't judge a book by its cover, I guess. Mion was careful in everything she did. She never misstepped, faltered, or messed up. I see. She is our club president after all.
レナのお弁当も見劣らないのです。カニかまぼこのお花がとても綺麗なのですよ。
レナの弁当ってなんていうか、いつも芸が凝ってるよな。リンゴのうさぎさんとか、人参の花びらとかさ。
Rena's bento wasn't all about taste. It was like she always put her heart into it or something. It wasn't just good, it made your insides all nice and warm.
ありがとう。みーちゃんにはちょっと及ばないけど。
料理は技術じゃなくて愛情でしょ。その意味でだったら、私なんか足元にも及ばないって。
Love, huh? Yeah. Just from looking at her bento, I could definitely feel that Rena put her heart and soul into making it. That's what her bento was like.
お弁当ってのは味だけでなく見た目も大事ってことですわね。私たちも見習わないといけませんわね。
おお。で、その見習わなくちゃならない聡子たちの弁当はどうだ？お。
じゃーん。昨日ご近所さんにお裾分けのお肉をもらったので、今日は焼肉弁当なんですってよ。
These ones too? They had such an impact. Also, I had to restart the game and replay up to this point. You didn't really miss much because the first part, while it did look a little bit nicer, there was no voice acting there, so, I mean, I couldn't see any other changes either. They were bursting at the seams with grilled meat. At a glance, it was too impactful for a girl's bento, but when you thought about eating with all your friends, it brought more than enough color to the table.
へえ、粗雑な体育会系弁当と見せかけて、おかずの品数も結構あるみたいじゃない。ほうれん草のおひたしとか、ひじきの煮物とか。
I don't know what stewed hijiki is, but I think I would like that.
リカちゃんはこういう気取らない家庭料理がとても上手なんだよね。リカちゃんは将来立派なお嫁さんになれると思うよ。未来の旦那様をわしづかみなのです。
A husband for Rika-chan, huh? At first, that sounded appealing. It did, but I felt like a married life with her would be anything but normal. But really, everyone was amazing. They were all so young, and yet they were all so capable of cooking for themselves. I would sort of cook whenever I went camping with my family, but making lunch every day was a level I definitely couldn't reach. I could only really cook in my spare time. When I thought about it like that, it really made everyone else stand out more. Frankly, I respected them. Eh? My egg is hatching. I feel like maybe this doesn't only apply to other people. Come to think of it, this morning when I was eating breakfast half asleep, I think my mom was saying something really important. Huh.
Oh.
With a hysteric groan, I suddenly stood up, startling everyone at once.
どうしたのかな
Oh no. Got that fucking forehead action! Ah! There we go.
急に大声を出すからむせてしまいましたですわ。さとこのお鼻からご飯粒が出てますです。
I had forgotten. All this stuff about cooking for yourself, it applied to me too!
ケイチ、お父さんとお母さんね、またお仕事で東京に行ってこなくちゃならないの。
そう。はあ。
お父さんの先生にあたる人がね、イベントの直前で倒れちゃったの。とても大切なイベントなんでね、どうしても穴が開けられないのよ。
Well, Dad does what he has to for his job, don't we all?
それでお父さんとお母さん、そのイベントのお手伝いのために大至急東京に行かなくちゃならなくなったの。場合によっては何日か泊まり込みになっちゃうかも。
That sounds annoying.
その間、お母さんたちいないからご飯とかみんな圭一が自炊しなくちゃならないんだけど。
While we're gone, we won't be here. Yeah, don't fucking say.
圭一は大丈夫？
大丈夫大丈夫。人間追い詰められたら何でもできるんだから。
そうなら安心ね。ご飯くらいは炊けるでしょ。お味噌汁も作れるわよね。あとは適当にお惣菜を買ってくればご飯らしくなるから。
A meal? Yeah. I can cook rice with my camping kit. Never used a rice cooker before. Me neither. I would like to try, but I feel like I make a mean rice anyway. I've only ever made instant miso soup that you can make in a pot of boiling water too. Well, I'll think of something. Worst case scenario, Rena will show up with like a box of bento or something.
自炊できるなら置いていくお金は少しでいいわよね。
I will always need more money, Mom.
外食は高いからしちゃダメよ。圭一もそろそろ自炊と経済観念を学んでもいい頃だからね。
I'm also at an age where I need to socialize with people, meet new, network. It's called networking, Ma. Yep. I'll get by. What the fuck was I thinking? I was half asleep and I made such a crazy empty promise? Just like manga characters always do at times like these, I bent over backwards and scratched furiously at my head. Scratch scratch!
ふーん、圭一くんのご両親って大変なんだね。圭一くん、しっかりお留守番をしてなきゃね。
そんなことより飯だ飯。親がいないんだぞ。全部自分で作らなきゃならないんだぞ。
I know, Rena, she'll have your back.
これは超緊急事態だ。
それなら覚悟を決めて自炊なさればいいではありませんの。圭一さん、以前のカレーパーティーで見事なカレーを作ってみせたではありません？
That happened in this timeline? What?
あのな、俺に作れるのはデイキャンプでおふくろに教えてもらったカレーがせいぜいなんだよ。
It's only for a couple of days, you big baby.
3食カレーなんか食えるかよ。カレーなんて所詮はジャンクフード。
Curry is junk food?
栄養バランスなんてかけらもない。実にいい加減な。
You shut your face right now, Keiichi.
バカ。
Mion and Satoko put their hands over my mouth. A moment later, the door rattled open, and Chia-sensei, a known curry maniac, suddenly poked her head in.
今、誰かカレーの悪口を言っていませんでしたか？
Everyone's faces went totally white, and they all shook their heads in denial. Her eyes rolled over the classroom. Her glare wasn't just a teacher's ordinary stare.
そうですか。
そうですか。
空耳でしたか。
Chia-sensei gave one more look around the classroom and then closed the door and went back to the teacher's lounge. I may have been shouting, but for her to hear it from all the way across the hall in the teacher's lounge, that motherfucker is terrifying.
ケイちゃん、他の食べ物はいくらこき下ろしてもいいけど、カレーだけはやめた方がいいよ。Hinamizawaに住んでいるうちは。
Okay, got it. Don't badmouth Oyashiro-sama, don't badmouth curry. Got you.
すまん、反省します。
That's what I said. But still, I can't have curry for every meal. And cup ramen is good because you only eat it once in a while. If you ate it for every meal, you would get bored of it pretty quickly. Rice and miso soup and a good side dish. Yeah, that's what a Japanese table should look like.
ケイチ君も頑張って自炊してみればいいのに。自分で作ったご飯ってとっても美味しいんだよ。
おじさんは美味しいってよりめんどくさいけどな。でもたまにはそういう経験もいいかもね。
そうそう、人生何事も経験でございましたよ。お指を切ったりやけどをしたりでかわいそうかわいそうなのです。
With everyone encouraging me like this, I start to feel like maybe I could do it if I tried too. Though approximately one person didn't sound like she was encouraging me. Cooking is a skill I will have to learn at some point, since I want to live on my own one day. Maybe learning now wouldn't be so bad. I'm pretty uneasy about it, but...
そうだな。この辺で多少の料理くらい得得しておかないと、今度部活で料理勝負になった時が辛い。
そうですわね。
You stop it. You don't even know the difference between cauliflower and broccoli, fam.
いつぞやのカレー勝負のような奇策は何度も通用しませんでございますしね。
So you referenced it again. As if scorning me, Satoko ridicules my comeback from a hopeless situation in a certain do-or-die curry showdown.
何を余裕ぶってやがる。あの時だってサトコはリカちゃんに任せっきりだったじゃないか。あの時サトコがした料理は何だ。レナのカレーに塩を一袋入れて、ミオンのご飯に塩を一袋入れて、俺の鍋をひっくり返しやがって。
I relapsed into my grudge over the last curry showdown. For now, I calm my unquellable anger by pinching Satoko's ears.
いたたたたたた。あれは部活だからの攻撃なんでございましたよ。私だってこう見えてもちょっとはお料理とかできましたよ。
ほう。あのカレー勝負の時、リカちゃんに任せっきりで人参の皮一つ剥かなかったお前がか。
I see where this is going. He's gonna try to make Satoko cook for him.
肩払いたいわ。
人間は日々進歩してますのよ。
Facts.
私がいつまでもお料理が下手っぴだと思ってると大間違いなんでしてよ。ねえリカ。僕が見てないとお鍋とか火元とか不安なのです。たまにガスの元栓も閉め忘れてるのです。
Wahahaha. Everyone burst into laughter. One fart and it's all over, motherfuckers. Ain't gonna be no laughing anymore.
火元は料理以前の問題だ。いくら俺でもそれだけはない。
カップラーメンばかり食べてる人に言われたくありませんわ。でもさとこちゃんもそこそこにはお料理とかできるんだよ。
いいぞレナ。こんなやつのためにわざわざフォローなんかしてやることはないんだぞ。
いや別にフォローってわけじゃないよ。リカちゃんがずば抜けて料理がうまいから目立たないだけでさ。さとこちゃんだってまあ基本くらいはマスターしてるよね。少なくともご飯とお味噌汁くらいは作れますわ。カリフラワーとブロッコリーの見分けはつかないけど。
That's what I'm saying.
どっち ちも茹でれば食べられるの同じですわ。
No, the fuck they're not. Satoko erupted into anger, making two fists and swinging them above her head. Everyone laughed a lot after that.
他の人にならともかくケイチさんに笑われるのだけは我慢がなりませんですわ。
Aww.
確かに俺は他のみんなよりも料理技術は劣るかもしれない。だけどな、少なくともサトコにだけは負けない自信はあるぞ。少なくともサトコにだけは。
なんですって。急にこと書いて自信があるとは肩払いたくて笑っちゃいますわ。こう見えても私リカと交代でご飯をちゃんと作ってますのよ。ちゃんと自炊ぐらいできるんでございますからね。
そうかそうか、自炊ができて偉いな。後でご褒美に飴玉買ってやるからな。
I patted Satoko on the head while I made fun of her. Satoko seemed to know I was making fun of her too, since her face went bright red very quickly and steam started to pour out like she was a kettle.
全然信じてませんのね。
Don't you maga me.
とにかくケイチさんより私の方が全然お料理が上手なんでございますのよ。
There's only one way to settle this, madame.
ほう。じゃあカリフラワーとブロッコリーの違いを言えたら、俺言ってみろ。
緑の方がブロッコリー。
10 points.
じゃなくて黄色い方。
Minus 1 point.
カリフラワーが青、赤、緑。
I am done with this conversation.
ほれほれ、ブロッコリーは何色だ？青、赤、緑ってテレビのブラウン管じゃあるまいし。ほれほれ、言ってみろ言ってみろ。別にブロッコリーが何色かわかんなくてもさと偉い偉いでっちゅうよ。
ケイチさんのバカ。
It was nothing to cry hysterically about. She's so goddamn cute. I stroked her head as hard as I could. Ruffle, ruffle, ruffle.
ほう、ケイちゃんもそこまで言うからにはサトコよりはまともなものを作ってみせられるんだろうね。
Remarked Mion, giving me a slightly mean smile. Actually, well, I have no confidence at all in my cooking, but the situation carried me along, and I decided to deliver an impressive declaration.
まあ見ていろ。今夜俺はバッチリガッチリ見事な晩飯を作ってみせる。少し余計に作って明日の弁当にしてくるから、それを見て腰を抜かすがいい。
それは楽しみなのです。明日のお弁当が待ち遠しいのですよ。
Rika-chan patted me on the head. Her words of can't wait sounded so transparent.
レナも楽しみにしてるね。どんなのを作ってきてもレナは笑わないからね。
She said, starting this sentence off by laughing.
となると明日の弁当は私も本気で作らなきゃならないようだ
Well,
ね。
it sounds like we have our club activity for tomorrow, don't we?
じゃあこうしようか。明日のお弁当で勝負ってのはどう？もちろん部活扱いだからね。罰ゲームもついちゃうよ。
あら、それは妙案でございますわね。どうですケイチさん。聞くなら今のうちでしてよ。
Satoko wiped her tears and snarled at me, as if this was her chance to turn things around. Maybe this is bad? I feel like maybe the conversation is getting pretty out of hand. Oh, if I apologize, now would be my chance mayhaps. But what came out of my Keiichi Maibara's mouth was a statement so reckless, it even fucking frightened me.
ああ、上等だぜ。明日の弁当を見て腰を抜かすなよ。
Everyone raised their voices in surprise at my bold, confident reply. Now I've done it. What have I done? I'm so irresponsible.
さてミオさん、ビリに なったらどんな素敵な罰ゲームになってしまうんですの？
We'll find out tomorrow. Satoko grinned fearlessly, as if to say it was already decided that I would be playing said fantastic punishment game.
そうだね。じゃあこんなのはどうかな。明日のお弁当勝負に負けた人は明日のお昼休み職員室で食事中の千恵先生の前でカレーの悪口を言うってのは。
みーちゃん、それはなんて恐ろしい。
That's suicide. Everyone went pale and gasped at how truly terrifying the punishment game was. Chia-sensei is such a maniac about curry that she would risk her life for it. And to go up to her and start saying bad things about curry? What kind of fate would await us? Just trying to imagine it was scary. And as everyone looked blankly amazed at the terrifying punishment game, Rika-chan spoke.
明日のお弁当は腕によりをかけますです。
Rena and Mion and Satoko, everyone nodded deeply in agreement.
もっとも圭一さんには明日のお弁当以前に今夜のお夕食の方が問題でしょうけどね。
True, I might not make it to tomorrow. Okay, shut your face now.
俺が今夜どんな素晴らしいディナーになるか明日の弁当でその片鱗をほんの少しだけ見せてやるから楽しみにしていろよ。
あれだけの大見えを切ったんですのよ。これでとんでもないのを作っちゃったらどうなるか分かってるんでございましょうね。
さとここそ明日千恵先生にどんな恐ろしい目に遭わされるか。
楽しみでしてよ。明日圭一さんはきっと土下座してそれだけはどうかご勘弁をって泣きながら言うんでしてよ。ああ、目に浮かぶようですわ。
何よ。
Both of us, on the verge of tears, pull on each other's cheeks.
自らを窮地に追い込むことで視力を振り絞ろうとは。ケイちゃん、男だね。
こんなの男なんて言いませんのよ。ただの無鉄砲って言いますのよ。自分もお料理なんかろくろくできないくせに。レナは信じてるからね。素敵なお弁当楽しみにしてるよ。僕も明日の圭一がとても楽しみなのですよ。
Their expectant gazes were painful to watch. I was just trying to tease Satoko a little. How did it come to this?
おう楽しみにしててくれよ。
Stop this shit, bro. What is this, a fucking Nintendo game announcement? Please look forward to it. Shut the fuck up. How am I able to say such reckless things? Easy. I ain't monetized. I'm being so unreasonable. What the fuck is going to happen to my dinner? And the bento showdown tomorrow? Oh, nah. More importantly, if they make me say bad things about Kuro to Chia-sensei's face, what's gonna happen to me? The extreme contrast between my outward bravado and my internal screaming continued as the hot and humid June afternoon dragged on. That entire day, up until school was over, the whole time, my meal tonight and my bento tomorrow were the only things on my mind. And now that I thought about it, it made Mom seem amazing for planning 3 meals every day of the year. I've complained before about having the same meal in a row once in a while, but now I know how rude that was. More importantly, what am I gonna do about the punishment game tomorrow? And besides that, what am I gonna eat tonight? Boo-hoo.
圭一くん、圭一くん。
What?
ああごめんちょっと考え事を。
今夜の献立のこと？それとも明日のお弁当勝負のことかな？
She hit the mark, and I couldn't find anything to say. and my facial expression made obvious the fact that she hit the mark.
明日の勝負はきっとケイチくんが頑張ってお弁当を作ってこれたらそれで大丈夫だと思うよ。頑張って作った手作りのお弁当に優劣なんかないもの。
明日の勝負以前に今夜の晩飯だよ。食中毒でばったり行くかもしれない。
I couldn't make any more bluffs. I exaggeratedly drooped my shoulders and heaved a sigh from the bottom of my gut. Rena laughed in a shrill way when she saw me do that.
やっぱりケイチくん、お料理全然自信なんかなかったんだね。
Zero. You ain't gotta be laughing about it. So, I've been found out, huh?
もしもケイチくんがどんなに頑張っても無理そうだったらレナに電話してもいいからね。
But that's cheating.
本当か？
ケイチくんがちゃんと頑張ったらだよ。何も苦労しないで人に頼ろうとしちゃダメなんだから。
Rena seemed naive, but sometimes she was instructive. She didn't just spoil people unconditionally. Rena always seemed like an adult at these moments.
どうしてもダメだったら電話するよ。
Expect a call. 11 tonight.
その確率は極めて高いが。
ファイトオーだよ。さとこちゃんにあれだけ大見えを切ったんだから頑張らなきゃね。
なあ、
Expect a call. 11
ど
p.m.
の程度の
sharp.
料理ができるんだ？
少なくともケイチくんよりはできるよ。
Wow. That was so direct. It hit me pretty hard, I'm not gonna lie.
さとこちゃんをあれだけいじめたんだからケイチくんはちょっぴり苦労をしてもいいかもね。
レナって結構意地悪なのな。
レナは可愛いだけじゃないんだよ。だよ。
Now that I had provoked Satoko that much, I couldn't just make some crummy bento. I can't believe how loose-lipped I am.
じゃあね。頑張ってね。お料理。
Yeah, thanks.
ケイチくんがやればできるってことみんな。
おう。
I waved my hand absently in response, leaving me with words of encouragement and a few pieces of super beginner advice. Rena disappeared past the trees. Fine. I'm desperate. So what? I may not know the ABCs of navigation, and I have neither a sea chart nor a compass, right? But still, one idiot is taking on the ocean of the great cooking age alone. And his name is Keiichi Maibara.
よし、いざ料理。
My enthusiasm is peerless. If energy and recklessness was all it took, I could take over the world. However, there are plenty of things in the world that can't be achieved with resolution alone. And cooking was probably the top contender. Therefore, even if it was hastily prepared knowledge, I wanted something to help me. I made up my mind and fished through the kitchen's cabinets. I was on the hunt for a cookbook. My mom should have had a few of them. For a complete amateur like me, the first thing I needed was information. Just like he who would cross the oceans needed a compass. For me, a cookbook was absolutely indispensable. Here is one. Its worn out, wrinkled cover made it feel somehow reliable. Okay, as long as I've got this.
考えるより有無が安しだな。お料理の本さえあれば誰だってシェフの味が出せるじゃんよ。さすがはお料理の本。
And as such optimistic thoughts filled my chest, I flipped through the pages. However, it played with technical terminology like toys. I just couldn't see how to actually make things. You knew it all along, Keiichi Maibara. If anyone could make delicious food just by reading a book, then there would be no such job as a gourmet chef in the first place. First off, it calls for 3 teaspoons, but which fucking spoon is that? And it keeps saying to use however much you like. How much exactly are you supposed to use? Stop using such obscure expressions. Strain out the water in a colander, add salt and pepper to taste. The fuck is a colander? And strain it out like stretching? You can't stretch water droplets like meat. And besides, how much salt and pepper is that supposed to be anyway? It won't do you any good to yell. Cool off, Keiichi Maibara. Think calmly. For now, I will leave the side dish until after. The rice is more important. Have to cook the rice or I can't start. I know a little bit about how to cook rice. I didn't cook it with my camping kit when camping all the time for nothing. I'll wash the rice. That should be enough water. And which switch is it? Is it this button? Oh, the lamp turned on. That's good. Yeah. Fully automatic rice cookers are one of the 3 sacred treasures after all. Now, pleased by the rice cooker set, I pulled myself together and decided to take on the miso soup next. The miso soup I made at day camp was all the instant kind after all. Well, it would be fine if I just melted the miso into the hot water, no doubt. I'll boil the water and put in the miso. Huh? Egg is hatching. How much should I put in?
何人数とお好みで適量にまたしても抽象表現かああそれなら適量に入れてやるさ
I crushed a bag of miso in my fist and put half of its contents into the pot. Was this really okay? Maybe this was a little too hearty?
濃厚なお味の味噌汁がいいって言うもんなそういえばお袋の味噌汁は少し薄すぎる気がしてたんだ俺にはこれくらい入れた方が合うかもしれない
I said it aloud as if trying to convince myself. Then, convinced by my own words, I nodded to myself. Alright, the rice and miso soup were probably fine. Next, the side dish. But what should I make? Something I could make that would add color to the meal. That's it. Why don't I stir fry some vegetables? You can eat vegetables raw too, but they won't die from just a little bit of fire. I was so cute then, not realizing that the level of my thoughts had fallen from what would look great in a meal to what would be easy to make. There were quite a few vegetables in the refrigerator. What kind of vegetables would go in a stir fry? Bean sprouts? Cabbage? Chives? Onions? Can you put cucumbers and lettuce in? For now, I grabbed a nearby cutting board and cut them into chunks and tossed them into a wok. This has gotten pretty exciting. Is the true worth of men's cooking? Hey, this is actually getting kind of fun. All of a sudden, there was a pile of vegetables in the wok. Alright, next is the salad oil. Glug 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 went the salad oil. It would be more exciting if I filled it to the brim. Whoops, a bit leaked out. Well, no point in worrying about something so minor. The great Keiichi Maibara's cooking is exciting. Okay, let's turn on the heat. Boop. The salad oil filling the wok to the brim caught fire and flames reached up to the sky.
すげえなんだか俺って鉄人って感じ俺ってひょっとして炎の料理人なんじゃ
Those words were spoken by delusion. I was saying something outrageously careless, but when the words came out, they sort of convinced me.
そうさ俺は料理の鉄人あちゃちゃちゃちゃちゃ
Right as the crazy pillar of flame started to burn the ceiling, I finally realized that the fabulous cooking before my eyes had culminated into an actually life-threatening disaster. Wait, what? Could I have been doing something insane? The force of the flames grew stronger and stronger. Wait, what? What? I'm trying to cook. somebody forcefully struck me in the back of the head. When I turned around to see what was going on, to my surprise, I saw Satoko and Rika-chan there.
さとこリカちゃん
As I stood in wonder of their unexpected entrance, Satoko shoved me out of the way and turned off the gas. Then Rika-chan got a towel, soaked it in water, spread it out, and placed it over the pot. She continued to soak more towels and put a second one on, then a third one. Once a whole bunch were piled on, the fire finally stopped. All of it had happened in a few moments. Having avoided a huge fire by a hair's breadth, the three of us gasped for air.
ってお前らなんで俺の家にいるんだ住居不法侵入だぞ
それを言うなら圭一さんなんか放火の現行犯でございますのよ。もうすぐで大火事になるところだったではございません。圭一は今日から宿なしでかわいそなのです。
And after pretending to be an Iron Chef, I finally began to take in their situation.
やっぱりあれは火事になりかけてた
当たり前でございませんの。ほらご覧なさいませ。天井がすすけてるではございません。すすけていいのは男の背中だけですのよ。
Satoko was seriously mad at me. Maybe they saved my life. According to what they said, I was absorbed in my fiery cooking that I hadn't noticed when Satoko and Rika-chan rang the doorbell. They could tell someone was home, so they came in to check. Thank goodness they did.
僕と聡子が来なかったら今頃ボーボーで消防車がうなのです。圭一さん、そろそろ事の重大さが飲み込めまして。
At some point, I had sat down on my knees as I listened obediently.
すみませんでした皆さんは命の恩人です
素敵なディナーがどんなものかと来てみれば案の定このざまですし。
Ta-da!
これじゃ出来上がりを見るまでもありませんわね。
嫌味なやつじゃあ聡子たち俺が夕食にどんなものを作るか見に来たってわけか。
その嫌味に命と家を助けられたのよく肝に銘じた方がよろしいのではありません。
はいすみませんでした聡子さん。
At this point, having shown them such a disaster, I couldn't exactly make any more bluffs. I had completely surrendered.
カレーの時は結構頑張ってましたのに。あの時の圭一さんはどこに行ってしまいましたの。まったく。
あの時は後輩職に手伝ってもらって他の班の鍋を丸ごと借りただけで別に俺が。
圭一さんそんなズルをしてまったくいくら部活とはいえとんでもない手を使いますのね。
Pouring salt into other teams' pots seemed far more terrible to me. Satoko was in control right now, so I couldn't respond. I obediently hanged my head to her.
ところで圭一さんこの凄まじいお鍋まさか味噌汁だなんて言わないでしょうね。
Satoko stared at the pot, totally full of miso, with an awful expression. Ah, so I really did get the amount wrong. Judging by the look on Satoko's face, whatever was in the pot couldn't really be called miso anymore.
味噌汁はともかくご飯はうまく炊けたはずだ。最近の炊飯器は便利だからな。きっとそろそろ炊けてる頃だ。
炊けてないです。ほらまだ中身も全然お水なのですよ。
You put too much water in, idiot.
あれだってちゃんとスイッチを入れたらランプが点灯して。
圭一さんあなたが押したボタンこれタイマーのボタンですのよ。朝食用にセットしてあるから電源が入るのは明日の早朝でしたよ。
Absolute idiot.
ってことは何か俺は結局おかずはもとより味噌汁もご飯すらも何も自炊できなかったってことか。
You wasted a lot of ingredients, though.
ざまあありまどうですようやく身の程を思い知りまして さ。認めなさいませ。私前原圭一は北条聡子さんよりもお料理の下手っぴな口先男でしたって。
いやー、私はサトコより料理の下手っぴなダメダメ男でございました。
Facts.
どうもすみませんでした。
I fainted in agony. For real? Rika-chan pat my head, satisfied at the sight, and Satoko laughed loudly in triumph. Ah, I've completely lost. In the end, I talked big, but I couldn't make a single dish adequately. At this rate, I'll go without dinner, and tomorrow morning, no breakfast, and no bento for lunch neither. I didn't know how many days it would be before my parents returned, but at this rate, without a doubt,
飢え死にだ。もちろん明日の弁当もなし。
fuck's wrong with you, kid?
そして明日の罰ゲームも俺で決まり。
Rika-chan kept on patting my head with a smile on her face that couldn't possibly get any bigger. Satoko, completely appalled at how unsightly I looked, heaved a heavy sigh.
大の男が情けないったらありゃしませんのね。
Hey!
ほら、おどき遊ばせ。
As I sobbed like a little girl, Satoko, displeased, brushed me aside, dumped the remains of the miso soup into the sink tidy, and then began to rinse out the pot.
いいよサトコ、自分の後片付けくらい俺がやるよ。
I couldn't have Satoko clean up the cooking utensils I had made a mess of. When I tried to stop her, Rika-chan pulled on my clothes.
圭一は黙って見ているといいのですよ。
Damn. She grinned as she said it.
黙って見てろって何言ってる。
まあそういうことですわね。圭一さんは黙って私に任せればいいんですのよ。
Satoko turned around and declared, seemingly bothered, as if to say that amateurs should keep their hands off. Her annoyed expression was a little scary, to be honest.
任せるって何を。
Satoko didn't answer. Instead, she spun back around and began to rifle through the pots and the refrigerator.
おいおい、あまりいじり回すなよ。ひっくり返したりしたら俺が後でお袋に怒られるんだからな。
うるさい男ですわね。男子厨房に立ち入らずでしたよ。
What?
いいか。あいあいさですよ。
Satoko snapped her fingers and Rika-chan got on her tiptoes, grabbed me by the back of my neck and started dragging me away. Leaving Satoko alone in the kitchen, Rika-chan dragged me back into the living room.
おいおい、リカちゃん、もう話してくれよ。サトコに任せたら台所が大変なことに。
今日の聡子は圭一を見返しに来たのですよ。復讐なのです。
復讐？そういえばサトコのやつどこか険しい顔を。
Eventually, from the kitchen, there was a sound of a faucet being twisted and a stove dial being turned. I began to hear the nostalgic sounds that made me envision dinner time. The refrigerator opening and closing, ingredients being cut on the chopping board. What did that mean? Was she cooking? For me?
圭一にいっぱいいっぱいバカにされましたですから。聡子は自分にもお料理がちゃんとできるところを。
こうして音だけ聞いてる限りではお皿を落とす音も破裂音も爆発音も聞こえてこないな。
At this point, at least, she had proven she was a much more skillful cook than me. In the cooking showdown with Satoko Hojo versus Keiichi Maebara, it looked like victory had already been decided. I recalled Satoko's slightly annoyed expression from before.
俺、日中サトコのことをちょっとバカにしすぎちゃったよな。ひょっとしてそれで根に持たれた？
We were just provoking each other with our usual back and forth. But I also think I maybe overdid it. At the very least, I shouldn't have made fun of Satoko, who could cook for herself, when I had never cooked other than for recreation before.
聡子は そんなの根に持っていませんです。
でもこうしてわざわざ俺のところまで押しかけてきたくらいだろ。
To save your life.
やっぱり怒ってるに違いないよ。
I quietly took a peek into the kitchen. She definitely looked different than the usual bird-brained Satoko. Her eyes were sharp and her movements were brisk to the point where it was a little scary. Then she must have noticed me because she turned around and shot me an annoyed glare. I cringed in fear and hastily pulled my head back out.
怒ってる、やっぱり怒ってる。ああ、俺はどんな復讐をされるんだろう。ああ。
サトコは失敗したくないから真剣なだけなのです。怒ってなんかいないのですよ。
あれのどこが怒ってないって言うんだよ。あんなおっかなそうなサトコ初めて見たよ。
ケイイチさん、ちょっと聞こえてますの？
はい。
I jumped at Satoko's angry outburst and faced toward the kitchen. I felt exactly like a kid who had done something bad and gotten called to the teacher's lounge.
お味噌ってどこにしまってありますの？冷蔵庫がでっかくて全然わかりませんですわよ。
すみません。味噌はその冷蔵庫の中段扉の中の下の網棚の左奥に。
なんですのこれは。お味噌のパックは使ったらちゃんと口を閉じなさいですわよ。冷蔵庫の中がお味噌で汚れてしまってるではありませんの。
いやすみません。
Before I can look for something to wipe it with, Satoko wiped it off with a wet dish towel.
まったく、男の人ってのはどうしてこう後片付けがずさんなんでございますの？
Okay, I'm pretty bad at that too.
そのまま大人になったらと思うとゾーッとしましてよ。
I couldn't talk back to Satoko today. The only thing I could do was obediently lower my head and apologize. As Satoko nitpicked and I apologized, a good smell began to fill the kitchen.
お味噌汁のお味噌は5。お玉に少量をすくい取ってお箸で溶きながら、少しずつ加えて味見をしながら慎重にですのよ。丸ごとひねり出してお鍋に開けちゃうなんて言語道断でしたよ。
すみません。家庭科の授業は真面目にやってませんでした。
情けない。まったく、これだから男の人は。
I cowered at her annoyed sounding muttering. But looking at her like this, she seemed quite good at cooking. It had just been overshadowed by Rena's and Rika-chan's artistic abilities. Satoko's skills were clearly enough to get passing marks.
さあさあ、そんなところでぼーっとしてる暇がございましたら、食卓にお茶碗の用意をなさいませ。私もリカも食べますから、用意は3人分ですわよ。
はいはい。
I hastily took a 3 people's worth of dishes and such from the cabinets and headed out to the dining room. When I returned there, I could hear laughter from a variety show on the television. Rika-chan was sprawled out on the couch, watching television and relaxing. When she noticed me putting dishes out on the table, she came scampering up.
もうすぐご飯なのです。ケイイチのうちでご飯なのです。ニパー。
Aw.
リカちゃんは上機嫌みたいだな。サトコの不機嫌とはえらい違いだ。
サトコは全然不機嫌じゃないです。久しぶりにとても楽しそうなのですよ。
楽しそう？あれがか？
サトコがニーニーと一緒だった頃みたいです。こんなに楽しそうなサトコを見るのは本当に久しぶりなのですよ。
The fuck is a Nii-Nii? Is it the sound cats make?
ニーニーはニーニーです。サトコのお兄さんなのですよ。
Oh.
サトコの兄。
サトシと言いますです。
Well, this came up early, didn't it?
名前くらい聞いたことがありませんですか？
Was I supposed to? Satoshi. Satoshi Hojo. Maybe I have, maybe I have not. At least, he didn't go to our school.
サトシっていうのか、サトコの兄貴は。初めて聞いたな。
She had a brother, huh? I didn't know that. She does have one. Saying that, Rika-chan grinned even more brightly and went Nipa again.
サトシと一緒にいる時のサトコは いつもこんな風で楽しそうだったのですよ。本当に久しぶりにこんな楽しそうなさとこを見ますのです。
However I looked at it, she seemed to be in a bad mood. But her good friend Rika-chan was saying that was actually the opposite.
楽しそうなのか。
きっとニーニーと一緒だった頃を思い出してるに違いないのです。懐かしいのですよ。
懐かしい？じゃあ今はサトコとは別居なのか。
Maybe Satoko's older brother Satoshi is actually a lot older than her? He must have gone off on his own, was living by himself far away.
サトコはそのサトシって兄と仲は良かったみたいだな。
はい、とても仲良しな兄弟だったです。
She spread her arms wide to demonstrate the width of how well they got along. According to Rika-chan, Satoko supported her docile, slightly unreliable older brother through nagging. That was their relationship. I see. That certainly applied to the current situation. We had me, unreliable and unable to cook a single dish properly, and Satoko, who read it while scolding me. Could Satoko have been getting a glimpse of her brother, who now lived far away through me?
いつもあんな感じでサトシに小言を言いながら、だけどしっかりと支えながら仲良く生活してたんだな。
今日圭一のところへ来たのだってサトコが言い出したのですよ。
She said there is no way the unreliable Keiichi-san could possibly make dinner. We need to go make it for him.
じゃあ別に復讐とか見返すとかそういう意味で来たんじゃなかったのか。
放っておけなかったのですよ。サトコは今でもしっかり者の妹なのです。
I was an only child. I didn't know how it felt to have siblings. Of course, I've never had a little sister like Satoko, but I felt that in this moment I was an older brother, obediently and helplessly being looked after by her. Without any teasing or messing around, I'm going to give her thanks for her trouble. It was what I honestly thought.
圭一さん、おしゃもじがどこにあるかわかりませんでしたよ。
ああ、ごめん。しゃもじはその右脇の引き出しの中に。
I ran into the kitchen, got the ladle out of the drawer, and offered it to Satoko.
さあ、出来上がりでしたよ。もうお茶碗とかは準備できてますの？
ああ、もう準備 OK だぜ。
では、ご飯にしましょうですわね。リカ、お夕飯ですわよ。みー。
I heard Rika-chan's effervescent voice coming from the dining room. What is effervescent? Satoko turned off the gas flame on the stove and lifted up the pot of miso soup.
圭一さんは炊飯器を持ってきてくださいます？
Effervescently no.
ひっくり返さないように注意するんですのよ。
ああ、気をつけるよ。
I can carry the rice cooker just fine without being warned about it. I thought about replying like that, but I decided not to. No mean words or witty retorts today. Rice with steam billowing from it and miso soup, as well as a handful of side dishes. On the table was a truly firm, family-oriented dinner. It wasn't weird at all or extravagant. It was a daily meal the sort a housewife would make. It was very nonchalant and brimming with liveliness.
では、いただきますですわよ。
いただきます。
At Satoko's command, Rika-chan and I both thanked her in a very loud voice.
俺、サトコのことを侮ってたよ。
Maybe? Maybe some thumbnail action here, maybe? I don't know.
完全に敗北だ。
少しは見直しまして。リカやレナさんに比べれば私もまだまだですけど、頼りない圭一さんなんかよりはよっぽどお料理ができましたよ。
I think we can agree to that, yes.
へいへい、おみそれしやした。
After I honestly admitted my defeat, Satoko's expression finally softened, and she laughed her with her normally loud and cheerful voice.
お、ご飯いい感じで炊き上がってるな。
Though she used a rice cooker, it tasted a little different from the rice my mom made. Maybe she used a different amount of water for it? Even so, I could feel Satoko's personality from the rice, which made it taste even better than usual. The miso soup was on the little thick side. The miso soup was a little on the thick side, but it was still delicious. The side dishes, while not exactly flashy, tasted great as well. It was all so appetizing and I couldn't stop eating.
おかずもよくできてるよ。サトコも決して料理は下手じゃないぞ。
I gave my honest impression without a hint of sarcasm. Satoko seemed to have been expecting some because when I praised her so honestly, she got flustered instead.
褒められるのは光栄ですけど、おかずはお惣菜屋さんで買ったものを温めただけですし、これとこれは缶詰を開けただけですし、自分でちゃんと作ったのはご飯と味噌汁だけなんですのよ。
Satoko said, embarrassed, her face a bit flushed. There was none of her normal verbal abuse or sarcasm in there either.
ご飯とお味噌汁しか作ってませんけど、出来合いのおかずを並べればそこそこに立派にはなりますのよね。
うちのお袋だって出来合いのお惣菜は使うし、缶詰だって使うよ。そんなので恥ずかしがることはないだろう。これは立派な夕食だよ。
I gave her honest praise. I've never met Satoko's brother, but Satoshi would probably praise her in the same way.
まあ、私にもそこそこのお料理ができることが分かっていただけたのでしたら、それで十分ですわね。おかわりいります？
Hell yeah.
お味噌汁はまだありますですわよ。
Did that brat just awkwardly change the subject? When I realized my response had been on the mark, it made me a little happy.
こうしてご飯を食べてると、サトシと一緒にご飯を食べてるみたいで楽しいのです。
How does she feel about you dropping his name though? Rika-chan mentioned Satoko's older brother name again. Satoko's chopsticks paused, and she looked up at the ceiling.
懐かしいですわね。一体今頃どこでどうしてるやら。
Let's call him up, shall we? She had a faraway smile, as if a yearning for a friend who had moved away. From how it looked, I got the impression that she hadn't seen Satoshi in quite some time. Satoko realized I was giving her a blank stare.
申し訳ないですわね。サトシっていうのは私のニーニーじゃなくて兄なのですのよ。
あ、うん。そうなんだ。
Nii-Nii must have been a nickname only Satoko used for him. It was funny to see her hastily deny it.
あんなに生活力のない人に家出なんて解消があったなんてびっくりでございますけど。まあ、そのうち値を上げでひょっこり帰ってくるに決まってますわ。
家出したんだ。
There was another story to what Satoko had said so cheerfully. The reason for Satoshi not living with her was a little serious. Everyone had been talking about it in such an upbeat way, so I continued to talk about him. Should I not have broached the subject at all? I hastily took a look at Satoko's face after thinking that, but there was no trace of the gloomy expression I had been worrying about.
まあ、一人暮らしに憧れるなんて年頃らしい夢ではありませんの。どうせニーニーには長続きするはずもありませんけどね。ご来性のない人ですから。サトシはああ見えてもとても我慢強い人なのですよ。サトコが思ってるよりもずっと我慢強いのです。
I'm not thinking anything.
リカはすぐニーニーの肩を持ちますのね。リカはちょっと甘やかしすぎですのよ。サトコはニーニーに厳しすぎるのです。帰ってきたらもっと優しくしてあげた方が良いのです。
And me too while you're at it. Satoko and Rika-chan's views regarding Nii-Nii, also known as Satoshi, were parallel to each other, but I could easily tell that both of them really liked him. They were so optimistic too. Even though he had run away from them, it was like they were going to see him again next week. Satoko and Rika-chan both liked Satoshi even now and waited for him, believing he would surely return. I've never met him, but I know for sure that this Satoshi person was a really good guy. I had thought Satoko would be deeply hurt by her brother running away, but she had already overcome that. She was still being the energetic little sister, always full of vim and vigor, as if to say that her brother would come back at any time he liked. I thought that Satoko didn't think through anything and just frolicked and played practical jokes every day and that was it. But she was really... yeah.
なんで私の頭を撫でますの？
I roughly rubbed a hand through Satoko's hair.
俺サトコのことを誤解してたよ。お前がこんなにしっかり者だなんて思わなかった。
Satoko seemed to think I was making fun of her and tried to bat away my hand. But then she saw that there wasn't even a trace of malice on my face and obediently granted me her head. Huh?
サトコはしっかり者。
Fuck's wrong with you, man?
私は最初からしっかり者でしたよ。圭一さんに合わせて悪ふざけしてあげてたに過ぎませんわ。
There was her usual provocation, but I decided not to buy into it today.
そうだな。俺に合わせてふざけてただけなんだよな。でも本当はこんなにもしっかり者。
Say level-headed one more time, motherfucker.
偉い偉い。
本当に褒めてますの？なんだかバカにされてるような。
俺は全然バカにしてないぞ。真面目に褒めてる。バカにしてるときはリカちゃんも一緒に撫でるからな。
それもそうですわね。リカは人を小バカにするときよく頭を撫でますものね。缶詰のイワシさんが美味しいのですよ。
Rika-chan went Nipa, and her smile became even brighter. Her attitude was clear as day, but it was annoyingly cute, so both Satoko and I suddenly burst into laughter. That laughter lightened up the table. The table itself is so dull and simple that I never even thought other people could be laughing like this around it. And then, I finally came to realize something really obvious.
笑いながら食べる食事って美味しいよな。
もちろんなのですよ。笑いはご飯を美味しくするのです。失礼ですわね。ご飯が美味しいのは私のお料理が美味しいからに決まってますわよ。
This harmonious moment, this happy little circle, it was completely different than spending time with family, but still somehow nostalgic.
サトコはニーニーに会いたいか？
ニーニーなんて言ってませんですわ。兄とお呼びなさいですわ。
Hey, wait, you've been saying Nii-Nii this, Nii-Nii that this whole time. I grinned wryly and decided to just call him brother like she told me to.
サトコは兄貴に会いたいか？
Rika-chan stopped eating and then looked back and forth between my face and Satoko's. Satoko was smiling. She looked like she was trying to choose her words. Just from that, Satoko conveyed her feelings. Honestly, she wished he could come home right now. But she wasn't that weak. Satoshi should just do what he wanted to do until he was satisfied. In return, she would let him have the scolding of his lifetime. And then she would have dinner with him and lay out his futon for him.
会いたいかと言われれば、もちろん会いたいに決まってますわね。もうすぐで1年になりますもの。
Damn, and y'all said he had no endurance? It's been that long already? Rika-chan smiled thinly, her eyes appearing to look far away.
ニーニーの好きにすればいいのですわ。少しでも生活力を身につけて、たくましくなって帰ってきてくれれば、私の負担も軽くなるわけですし。
ほら、またニーニーって言った。
言いましたですね。言ってませんわよ。ニーニーのことをニーニーなんて言いませんわよ。
Things rapidly turned to the usual lively atmosphere of lunchtime at school. But nothing changed about Satoko's feelings toward her brother. She was living so bravely and so strongly. Hey Satoshi, your sister's trying so hard to watch the place while you're gone, isn't she? Give it a rest and come back soon. Got it?
さとこ、そろそろお片付けをしないとお眠になる時間なのです。
It was when we were all watching TV while enjoying some tea after dinner. Rika-chan let out a big yawn and then spoke. Satoko and I both then looked at the clock and noticed how late it had gotten. No, perhaps we both realized it already. We just didn't want this warm moment to end. Perhaps we didn't even want to say anything.
いけませんわね。まだ食器を洗っていませんでしたわ。
いいよそんなの。それくらい俺がやっておくよ。飯をごちそうになって食器まで洗わせるわけにはいかないよ。
本当に大丈夫ですの？
There is no fire involved. I got this.
慣れない人が洗うとお皿とか洗剤で滑って落としちゃいますわよ。
Jeez, she turned into the perfect little nagging sister. It was charming and awkward. Emotions like that were all mixed up inside me. I gave her a vague, dry smile.
圭一だってお皿くらい洗えますですよ。割ったお皿で怪我をしたら明日学校でかわいそしてあげますです。わー。
Rika-chan yawned again, so wide you could see her molars.
本当に大丈夫ですの？圭一さんって見かけと違って随分と頼りない方でございますからね。
I look reliable?
やれやれ。さとこの中の圭一株は大暴落みたいだな。安心しろ。皿くらいきっちりと洗ってみせるぞ。安心して帰れ。っていうか、こんな時間じゃさとこたちだけに帰らせられないよな。家まで送るよ。自転車の鍵を。
私たちを送った後一人で家に帰るのは圭一さんではありませんの。夜道に迷って高津戸あたりに迷い込んだら大変ですのよ。
I saw you that you blushed a little bit.
あのあたりお家も明かりも全然ありませんから。
I'll be fine. I was trying to worry about them going home, but I didn't think they would be worried about me getting lost. Am I really that fucking unreliable? She's being critical, but yeah. This feeling I have, it's not bad. So I ended up not needing to escort them. I saw off Satoko and Rika-chan to the gate.
今日は本当にありがとうな。おかげでとても文化的な夕飯にありつけたよ。
さとこが来なかったら今頃圭一はグーグーでニャーニャーだったのです。
Why wouldn't you offer to let them stay in your house?
本当ですわね。本当来てよかったですわ。
They really saved me. I gave them another bowl filled with gratitude.
そうそう。ご飯とおかずの残りをタッパーに詰めておきましたから明日はそれをお弁当になさいませ。あと明日の朝食は食パンとジャムがいいですわね。いちごジャムとピーナッツバターが冷蔵庫中段の右端にありましたわ。あと粉末ココアが食器棚の右上の戸の中に。
I know all that. You don't have to go into detail. I was just about to say that, but I decided to humbly listen to her. It was then that I finally realized that Satoko, who had appeared to be in a bad mood, was in fact in a great one, just like Rika-chan had said. And that though she nagged a lot, she was very kind.
ではおやすみなさいなのですよ。寝る前にはちゃんと歯を磨くんですのよ。
Good lord.
5分以上かけてしっかりと磨きなさいませ。
5!
わかったよさとこ。ちゃんと歯も磨くし明日の朝飯も用意する。弁当も忘れないようにするよ。
いつもより早めに起きないと朝食やお弁当の支度ができませんわよ。なんなら少し早いくらいの時間に目覚まし代わりに電話して差し上げましょうか。
Someone has grown really attached to us.
そこまでしてくれなく。目覚まし時計を少し早めにセットしておくことにする。ありがとな。いろいろと気にしてくれて。
Satoko looked like she had more fault finding to do, but she stopped and, leaving me with a good night, got on her bike and disappeared down the nighttime road. Rika-chan went to do the same, but then remembered something and came back.
どうしたリカちゃん。忘れ物か？
今日の圭一は100点満点でした。
Real recognize real. Appreciate you.
パチパチパチなのです。
Patchy, homie. Rika-chan suddenly complimented me. She clapped her small hands. What the fuck was she on about?
別に褒められるようなことはしてないだろう。
Just shut the fuck up and go back home.
危うく自宅を火事にするところだったし。
さとこもきっと ニーニーが帰ってきたような気がして、とても楽しかったと思いますです。たまにこれからもサトコのお小言に付き合ってあげてほしいのですよ。
サトコに小言を言われる頼りない兄貴。サトシの代わりになってやれっていうことか？
Rika-chan didn't say anything. She just smiled and went all Nipa.
サトシってさ、こんなにもできた妹と一緒で何が不満だったんだ？俺がサトシだったら絶対に家出なんかしないぞ。
サトシにはサトシなりの事情があったのです、きっと。
I didn't know what he was unhappy with, but whatever the reason, it was no excuse for abandoning Satoko.
早く帰ってくるといいな。俺じゃあ多分本物のニーニーの代役はいつまでも務まらないぜ。
大丈夫ですよ。今日の圭一はサトシそっくりだったのです。またお願いしますなのですよ。
If that's what would make Satoko happy, I would take on this easy role whenever I needed to.
リーカー。
Satoko stopped her bike under a distant exterior light and called out to her friend, who wasn't coming no matter how long she waited.
では僕はもう行きますですよ。
Deuces, fam.
おやすみなさいなのです。
あ、おやす。
僕ではサトシの代わりをできませんが、圭一ならできます。これで僕も心の荷が一つ下りましたのですよ。
Interesting. Leaving me with that, Rika-chan sped off on her bike. She rode up next to Satoko, and the two of them disappeared in the blink of an eye.
サトシ、本当に早く帰ってきてやれよな。
Do we have to consult with the yellow pages here?
あんまり帰りが遅かったら。
I'll punch you right on the nose. Let's try our best until that day comes, Satoko. Even if I could no longer hear the sounds of their bicycles, I stood there for a while, seeing them off.
「俺が保証する。サトコならこの山で籠城して一個師団相手くらいなら十分にあしらえるに違いない。
私は知ってるよ。サトコはとある国の特殊部隊に招聘されてトラップの訓練教官をやってたんだ。
そんな変な話はいいから誰か助けて。
How did it come to this? What traps did we fall for, and how did we fall for them? Mia was caught in a profusely thin pitfall she couldn't escape from, and only her head was poking above the ground. Rena's head was completely covered by a tin bucket. She was squirming around in a vain attempt to remove it. Either of these were really funny, but that's where it ended. At least they had their feet on the ground.
ケイちゃんの方はどう？抜けられそう？早く抜け出しておじさんを助けてよ。
抜け出して助けるのはミオンの方だ。このスマッキ状態の俺に何をしろと言うんだ。
I was wrapped up in a bamboo mat and hanging 2 meters above the ground. What was this trap, and how did I fall into it? Huh? It was Satoko. This all started when they suggested that I was unfamiliar with nature, having grown up in the city, and proposed a little exploration on the mountain.
でもレナもよく裏山は知らないよ。レナじゃ迷子になっちゃう。
裏山ね。小さい頃はよく遊んだけど、ここ何年かはさっぱりだな。あそこ道を誤るとかなりデンジャラスに迷うんだよな。
裏山なら私たちにお任せですわよ。山が丸ごと私とリカの遊び場なんですもの。ねえリカ。
おう、それは心強いな。じゃあここは2人の顔を立てて2人の道案内でハイキングと行こうじゃないか。
で もケイチくん、裏山は迷うから遊びに行っちゃいけないって夏休みのしおりにも書いてあるよ。まだ夏休みではありませんですから大丈夫なのですよ。僕たちが道を知ってますからご安心なのです。裏山は昔から私たちの遊び場でございますもの。岩も同然。抜け道、近道までバッチリでございましたよ。
Yes, both Satoko and Rika-chan knew the path like the back of their hands. Thanks to them, we had a fill of fresh air, gorgeous views, and Mother Nature, the likes of which you could never see in the village. But things got strange partway through.
そうそう皆さん、ここからは私が歩いた足跡の通りに歩くんですわよ。
は？突然何を言い出すんだ？
おとなしくさとこの言うことを聞く方が身のためなのです。あれれ？ねえみーちゃん、ほらこれなんだろうね。引っ張るのかな？かな？
Suddenly, squeak, crash. When Rena pulled the kite string, a bundle of bamboo spears fastened to a tree branch all came raining down with a clatter right next to where Rena was standing.
何これ？懐かしいのですよ。これは確か2年生の2学期にさとこが作ったトラップなのです。危なかったですわね。竹襟の先端には犬の糞が塗ってありますから、傷になると後で腐り出しますわよ。
Jesus Christ.
ここはいつからゲリラの戦場になったんだ？
According to Satoko and Rika-chan, earlier in elementary school, Satoko had been on a trap-making craze and set them along every inch of this mountain.
キイチくん、ひょっとして裏山が立ち入り禁止なのは迷うからじゃなくて危ないからじゃないのかな。
Mion and I both nodded wholeheartedly at Rena's hypothesis.
先を急ぎますわよ。早く戻らないと暗くなってしまいますわ。暗くなったら私だって危ないでございますからね。
But you're the one who brought us into this crazy fucking mountain. Why was an average healthy Japanese boy like me being forced to deal with life-threatening booby traps, dog? And then, the very moment Satoko and Rika-chan got just out of sight was when the three of us all got caught in nice little traps together.
誰か出して。私おトイレに行きたいの。そんなことより誰かこのバケツ取って前が見えない。
おいレナ、あんまり暴れるな。
見たケイチコが見た。
Smash, crash, smash, 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 crash, bash.
見えてるだろ絶対。バケッやごほ
Bucket Rena was using me as a sandbag and Mion was crying.
落とし穴から抜けられなくてかわいそうなのです。もう皆さん、だから言いましたでしょ。私から離れたらいけませんでしたよって。
I finally had an epiphany. Satoko had been so bent on taking everyone out to the mountain because she wanted to brag about all the traps she had set up over the years. You could have just stopped just at showing them to us. I didn't need to experience how it felt firsthand. Rika-chan pets our three heads in sequence in an incredibly satisfied mood. A lot of focus to Satoko this chapter. Okay, so we're gonna call it an episode right here. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Next time around, we'll crack on with Chapter 2 of Arc 3. Yeah! Until then, this has been your boy Karagol Gaming. I'm out of here. Love y'all and deuces.